It's time for Energy Insights, where you get an inside view and a local perspective of all the oil and gas progress going on in the Mid-Ohio Valley. This program is brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association and can be heard every Saturday on WMOA AM 1490 and FM 101.3, JAW's Classic Country FM 100.9, and ESPN AM 630 and FM 92.9. Here's Johnny Wharf, your local host.
Energy Insights on a Saturday morning brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association. We're joined by Gene Huck, Artex Oil. What in the world's happening in the world of oil and gas right now? Maybe that wasn't 5 years ago, 1 year ago, 6 months ago. I imagine a lot, right?
Well, it's all changing hour to hour with the tariffs and the deals being struck with the Saudis and natural gas coming back into favor for power generation. Just a lot of moving parts that we haven't seen in a long time. It's been stagnated for a while. Gas prices have been in the toilet for years because of, extra gas on the market. But now with the LNG going offshore and then also the amount of generation that we've actually worked ourselves into a corner, on generating electricity to where it's the only viable thing we can stand up and provide the power and the future power that everybody says we're going to need for everything. It's kind of fun again to look forward and maybe think about drilling, because prices are finally up enough to justify it.
All right, well, let me play off that a little bit. Gene Huck, Artex Oil, is our guest here in Marietta. And so a lot of time, you've been in it long enough to know that, they say they're going to do this, or we think they're going to do this. But once it starts happening, it's like, let's get the bridles and let's go, right? Yeah,
it's, everybody talks about an energy transition, but there's never been an energy transition. Everything is just additive to what we used before that. And we're seeing that now with oil and gas demand being as high as it's ever been in history. We produce more, for the country, we produce more gas in a single day than we ever have in history. And then the things about, what you said about say what they're going to do. Like I said, we have worked ourselves into a corner on electric generation to where natural gas is about the only viable option we have. And as much as they would like to change or do something else, unless you keep coal online, it's the only viable alternative.
And so as it relates to the different administration, whereas it seems like when you switch from one to the next, it's, one step forward, two steps back, right? But are you feeling a little bit more progress?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think we would have been in this position regardless of who would be in the White House right now. I think it just seems a lot easier and a lot more probable without a lot of regulation and stuff to get the generation that we're going to need. It's just when the sun don't shine and the wind don't blow, they got to get their spark somewhere, and natural gas is that.
All right. Gene Huck is our guest, Artex Oil, longtime guest here on our radio station. The program Energy Insights brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association. Our conversation continues with Gene Huck. He's with Artex Oil, and go back to Gene Huck in your youthful days and the opportunity to get into the oil and gas industry and some of the things that you look back and say, man, I didn't like that at the time, but I'm sure glad I did it.
Well, it's funny because I'm just a farm boy from Southeast Ohio, and all the jobs inside the oil and gas business that were really hard for a lot of people was the easiest jobs I ever had in my life, and they actually paid me for them. So as far as getting into the work, and when I broke out in the late 70s, we were in recession, high energy prices, and it was the only industry where you could just go out and get a 4-year degree and make a really good living. And I seen that as an opportunity. My older brother, who's much smarter than me, is a petroleum engineer, and my youngest brother also is a petroleum engineer. But, it was just a good option for someone with some mechanical ability and willing to work.
And then as far as opportunities for young people today to get into the industry, do you feel that there is a push in that regard?
I'm not sure about a push, John, but I think there's opportunity there. Like I said, we've never, ever had an energy transition. It's always been additive. And, the great crew changes here. There's a bunch of people came into the industry in the mid-'70s and early '80s when I came in that are, we're just old now. And, we're hanging around, but we've got a great group of young guys who are carrying on, and we're keeping our company alive and hopefully take advantage of this next uptick in prices to give them opportunity. But any young person that wants to work and not afraid of hard work, I think is tremendous opportunity still.
Okay, and then lastly, to your point about the company and the legacy that is Artex Oil and a company very highly respected in our area, something you can look back on and say, it's been a lot of fun, right?
Oh, yeah. I got to pinch myself sometimes. I mean, if you'd have told me 25 years ago that if I joined up with Jerry and we put we combined our skills, that we could do something like this, I thought it was crazy.
All right.
But
always enjoy.
It's awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Always enjoy talking to you. Appreciate you being a big listener and a supporter of this community. And thanks for your time.
Very good.
All right.
Appreciate it, Don.
Gene Huck, Artex Oil, our guest. The program Energy Insights brought to you every Saturday by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association.
Thank you for listening to Energy Insights, brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association. Tune in every Saturday morning on WMOA Local Radio, JAWS Country, and ESPN as Johnny Wharf brings you a local and inside perspective on the oil and gas industry right here in the Mid-Ohio Valley.